If I would tell them exactly A to Z what they need to do every morning, they will never want to stay in this company. If I will tell them, hey, this is where we want to be. We want to be the leading the conversational AI solution for enterprise. Now, tell me what I need to do.
All right, our guest today is Alon Peleg, and Alon is an amazing leader from Israel. He's a proven leader with over 20 years' experience growing companies and leading teams in fast-moving technology markets. He really knows how to scale companies, he knows how to build strong teams, and he leads big changes that stick, whether it's startups or Fortune 500 giants that he's worked with. Today, he's the COO of aiOla, which is a cutting-edge conversational AI company. He's in charge of building the right team, driving their go-to-market strategy, and scaling operations. And this is not just a technology like Siri or Alexa, very different, very specific, very niche, but also very big. And under their leadership, aiOla's AI-powered voice tech is already making big impact at Fortune 500 companies, helping them work faster, automate more, and get better data. His goal is to make aiOla a top player in the space while keeping the company running smoothly for long-term growth. Before aiOla, he built Wix Enterprise from the ground up, growing it to hundreds of customers. And prior to that, worked at Cisco, where he led a team with some of the biggest service providers in the world. You'll love this episode. You can also watch all of our Second in Command podcasts on our YouTube channel. We'll see you on the inside. So, Alon, welcome to the Second in Command podcast.
Hi, thank you for inviting me. I'm very excited to meet you.
Of course, really excited to meet you as well. As you and I said just before we hopped on the podcast, you're from Israel, one of my favorite places on the planet. It was one of the first countries that I was able to travel to, and I was backpacking around the world 40 years ago. And now my wife have become nomads 4 years ago, and we live on the road traveling. And Israel still ranks in the 80 countries I've been to, it still ranks in probably the top 5 of one of the most magical places I've ever been. So thank you for joining us from Tel Aviv, or from Haifa, near Tel Aviv.
Yes, it's a amazing place with so much to learn and see in such a small country.
It is. It's a wonderful country, incredible people, beautiful food. I remember when I was first there in 1995, I was living on a kibbutz down at En Gedi, and I I landed like the Ritz-Carlton of kibbutzes. I was on a spa. They ran a spa and a date farm, so I had it pretty cushy. But I remember walking into the cafeteria the first day and trying all this food and going like, "Wow, this is like falafel." We grew up in a small town in Canada, so anyway, my mind was blown. Tell me about aiOla. You are the COO of a company called aiOla. I'm going to talk a lot about that, a lot about your past in getting there. But why don't you tell us a little bit about the company aiOla so that we can start in from there?
Well, aiOla is probably the best conversational AI lab today. We have about 10 PhDs in a company of 55 people. It's a lot. And this team created about 5 patents around speech AI, conversational AI. Um, and and I'm hearing from enterprises, from innovators in big enterprises, that they didn't face any such technology with even a bigger companies or $1 billion call it competitions that available today in the market. And this reflects the energy we have in aiOla today. We have a team of very, very strong innovators um, who come to change the way industries interact with the machines. Really believe that the main user interface in the next few years will become our natural interface, which is voice. Yeah. And the technology today is allowing that, something that was unbelievable. No one really believes that we will be able to develop a full conversational capability so accurate, so quick to react, so natural, and we are here. We like we have something that is working, um, and provide value to employees that are, in the manufacturing, not high tech data scientists, but we are providing a solution for employees in that doing inspections in manufacturing plants.
Well, and,
So
and I
this
think
is a
you're going to be right. I remember when my oldest son is now 24, and I remember when he was 4 years old, and I said to his mom, "We have to teach him how to type. He's going to be using computers his whole life." And then I walked into his room, and he was sitting typing on a keyboard. I'm like, "How did you learn how to type?" He said, "Well, it's right here." I'm like, "Well, how did you learn where the letters are?" He said, "Well, they're right here." I'm like, "Forget it. I don't have to teach you how to type." And now he never types. He just talks to his phone all day long. But we've even jumped past that where people are now even talking to the computer and teaching, like coding by using voice as well. Can you give us some of the use cases, and also can you speak to the complications related to accents? Because I know that AI is still struggling with accents and language.
Yes. So, for example, process of inspection is cross industry. It can be pharmaceutical or food industry, automotive, aviation. All of those industries has inspection processes in order to meet regulation and to meet safety. And you'll be surprised that many of them are still using papers, and because this is how they did it for tens of years. So one one main use case is to replace old forms, checking out cars, every morning for car fleets, and checking the production line every time you need to change the production product. So you need to make sure that everything is ready, or quality control during the manufacturing. Everything is can be paper based forms, and we are very easily replacing them with digital solution that is not standard. It's digital form when you are speaking any language, any accent, with any background noise, and because it's not a Cyrillic, and it's not your son sitting in his room, right? It's people are standing next to him, speaking, machinery, everything, a lot of noise, and the phone will be automatic, like will hear only the relevant sentences and data, capture it, and send the data to backend system where a lot of analysis can be done to find trends, to find data that were never investigated before. So it's a lot of. It's not only filling the data faster, much more organized. It's the amount of data that will be captured is time 5, time 10 more than you could do it before. Now, when you are going to a like a car manufacturer plant in Asia, or an airport in US, it's not only English. You will find there many accents, many nationalities that sometimes cannot even write in English. Now they can speak in their natural language. The data will be captured in English. The insight will be in English, but the employees will speak in their natural language or accent.
Okay, so the complexity of what you're doing is pretty large. Yeah, I mean, I guess that speaks to the fact that you have 10 PhDs out of a team of 55 people. So you have, 20% of your workforce are PhDs working on this issue. Who are your clients? Who do you sell to?
Ocean 500, it can be, for one hand, um, head of operations, COOs, operational excellence, head of quality assurance. That's one hand. From the other end, it can be innovators in the companies, like the CIOs, chief of today there are a lot of titles with AI. Um, we we can provide two solutions. One is we can provide you an application. If you are jumping from paper to digital, we can provide you the application itself, the digital form that we will create only for you with the voice models that are only um, built for you, Mr. Customer, with for your flow is exactly we can build in a few hours digital form plus the voice model that will be 95% accurate, no matter which language, which accent, which background. No, that's one solution. Or if you are coming from more tech group, I can provide you with APIs directly to our brain, and then you don't need to replace anything from your infrastructure. If you are using Salesforce or IBM Maximo, you don't need to replace them. You will just add the voice widget to your existing ecosystem, which makes it even no one enjoy using those tools. If you are a technician, you don't like to fill forms of Maximo, and you don't need to. You just use your iPhone, speak, and the Maximo form will be automatically filled in. Same for salespeople that had a great call in the event, and they don't want to type into Salesforce all of the summary. They can just speak, and the Salesforce form will be automatically captured, which is genius.
It sounds okay. So I have a few follow-up questions here, and I'm kind of smiling and noticing you smiling. It's one of the reasons why I think so many people are starting to watch our podcast on our YouTube channel is they see some things that you don't necessarily you don't see it when you're listening. So I want to ask about a couple things that you smiled when you said them. I'm going to come back to those in a second, but I want to ask about the complexity of the business or the simplicity of the business. I'm wondering, is the complexity just in building out the tools, but is it much easier to sell this than it is to build it? Like it feels like this is pretty simple to scale as an organization. It feels like this is actually a business that once you've built the tools, you don't need 10,000 employees, do you, to build a massive billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar company?
It's not. This is not the challenge. You are right, because you can already imagine how big is the market, right? For us, every enterprise almost needs even tech enterprises can replace like opening an IT case. I need a new computer or I need a new mouse. You can do it with voice instead of typing it. So the market is not the problem, but no one today, not many people. There are few enterprises that are already thinking about it. No one started 2025 when they had in their budget planning, hey, I want to add voice capabilities to my processes. So we need to find the change agent, the visionaries, or the ones that are struggling, to show them how much voice can help them capture unstructured data with the current processes, and how fast they can adapt voice into their current processes without creating big changes in their uh, current IT ecosystem. So the big challenge is to um, to contact the right people in the right industries, and with them be able to do the first step.
What are the big threats for your business?
The big threats always is competition. Um, Today, our advantage is that we are not boiling the ocean. I'm coming to a specific company in in a few hours, I can build a speech model specifically for them and provide them 95% accuracy. You can go to the Googles of the world. They have enough money to do it, but they are not focusing on this segment at all. They want to boil the ocean. And they will not build a voice model specifically for um, an automotive company in Germany. They will never do that. But if they want, they have the money to do that. And we have the IP today to be able to develop solutions specifically to those industries.
Makes sense. So you're not trying to do a generic voice to text tool that's going to be used by all applications by Microsoft, like that Salesforce will just embed into their apps. You're doing something very specific for very specific industries. Is that what?
Yes, and it's so specific that, listen, if you'll take Siri, for example, or Alexa, and you'll try to implement what we did in an airline in US, 50% of the words of the employees, Siri and Alexa will not know. It's a jargon specifically to that airline. Um, and and the advantage that we do, we learn the jargon in a matter of minutes and build a model that is specifically for you. And we will not train other companies with your data.
That's interesting. So all the jargon, all the acronyms, all the little that makes a lot of sense. So you're literally taking their database, their lexicon, their dictionary, and you're training a model around that for all of their forms and all their processes.
Exactly. So you have the jargon, the acoustic environment that is unique to this company, because
Wow.
and the languages and the accent that is also together three factors that makes our solution unique.
Okay, that's super interesting. That makes a lot of sense. I want to go back and ask you about something. You said something about titles, and you kind of smiled as you said it. There's a lot of AI titles. Um, what are your thoughts around titles in companies these days? I'm not going to lead you specifically, but do you have any thoughts around titles?
I think that I came from Wix. The first Wix is a very successful Israeli company. In Wix, for example, any employee can give himself any titles he wants. So that's created a different culture. No one fight about titles, and it took me time, but actually it's um, it's um, it's a smart move. And now, when I'm trying to contact today people in order to get some excitement around our solution, you can see that many executive got a title of AI because the company wants, part of their mission for next year was, let's go into AI. It's create good energy. I think if you are not really understand, or you don't have a vision of how you want to create value to your organization, and just have a title, it's not it will not move the needle. Um, and It's not the title, I would say it's the like, you need the energy to innovate. You need to continuously look for how to do things differently. For us in a startup, this is what we do every day. In a corporate that is larger, it's more difficult. It's more difficult because it's a big risk. If you'll make a few mistakes, and you choose the wrong infrastructure, and you'll create delays instead of accelerate, you'll probably lose your job. And there is a lot of cult, cul- um, culture and DNA in organizations that need to promote risk taking, the fact that, okay, you did A for 2 years, it's about time to try another way, not to stick for A. Although it looks safe, it's actually a big risk to continue just doing A because of that was the routine till today.
So are you suggesting then that titles don't matter, or that you see that companies are using titles as kind of a marketing tool? And I'm curious, you know, if they don't matter, how do you work around the communication issues internally, or how do you clarify for people internally when an organization scales and, you know, there's hundreds of employees and they don't even know who to turn to?
For me, titles are less important. I have example even in my startup where people impacting the go-to-market and the roadmap more than people with titles because of their talent and intelligence and accountability um, for the company. Um, so for me personally, and I'm probably the older guy in the startup. So people look at me and I assume they learned something. For me, titles are less important. It's more of which behavior I want to encourage in the team, um, and how creative you are, and how you succeed to impact the most critical activities in the company, and that we increase your influence on where we go.
I guess there's a logical thought process behind that. Can you speak to hiring these 10 PhDs? I mean, I've hired, you know, smart people certainly inside of organizations. I've had to hire a head of engineering or a head of finance, you know, areas where I just don't have the technical acumen to even know whether they know their job. How do you hire PhDs that are so much smarter than we are? Are you a PhD yourself?
No,
Right. So how does someone, you know, in a COO role hire these really, really smart people? What's the system or process that you use to hire people to know whether they're really as good as, you know, what you need?
first of all, in the last year, I hired the entire new management in aiOla. Okay, my goal was to scale, and hiring the PhDs is part of it, but it's only a one part of it, which is technology. But I wanted to hire the strongest CPTO, both CTO and product visionary. When he came, he completely changed the way we looked on aiOla roadmap and technology. I hired the strongest director of marketing because I knew that he will work the best with the CPTO I brought. Both of them are two key players that will be able to maximize the potential and will not be shy to change the way we work. I brought the very strong talent to lead our people, the HR of the company, which uh, I knew that she will be able to lead a team of stars to the right direction without too much ego. Um, so overall, same for the PhDs. You want to bring the best in class in the available market we have. You want team players, okay? You want people that will be able to align on the vision. And I think for me is to give them enough space in the playground. I think that that's crazy. You'll not bring Ronaldo and tell him, okay, you cannot cross the the middle of the court, because if you limit Ronaldo, you'll get minus impact, because he will be frustrated and all the team around him will be frustrated. So you bring players that know how to play with each other, and you give them the space to be on their best. Same for the PhDs. If I would tell them exactly A to Z what they need to do every morning, they will never want to stay in this company. If I will tell them, hey, this is where we want to be the leading AI, the conversational AI solution for enterprise. Now tell me what I need to do.
Wow.
And from all of those people are invested in the success of the company. I can tell you, we had huge opportunity with one of the really top companies in the world. On Friday, they signed with me an NDA. On Monday, they started evaluating a new product that was just released. All of the PhDs were working during the entire weekend, to make sure the solution is ready, because they understand where we are heading. They are part of it. They are invested in it, and I think that's the key.
Okay, I love that. You're hiring the cultural fit, you're aligning them with vision, you're giving them the place in the sandbox to play. I'm curious how you know, or how do you gut check the ROI that you're expecting to get off of a hire like that? It's not like we're hiring a person to do all of these tasks and we know what the result they're going to get is. You're hiring a senior person with a paycheck that's pretty large. Is it just kind of like a litmus? Like, how do you judge or decide how much revenue or gross margin you need to generate? Or how do you decide how much of your payroll to allocate to this sandbox to just see what comes out of it? How do you decide those things?
Um, because of the fact we are only 55 people, I know everyone. Meaning, even in there is even the interns that joining us, I'm meeting them personally to make sure that they are aligned with our culture. It will be fun with them, that I will be enjoying drinking beer with them. Okay, so first of all, the cultural fit is important. Second, we will not hire if there is no need. And so I'm always balancing, for example, between building the business with the sales functions, or marketing, or research. So there is continuous evaluation of where to spend the money. This is the COO role, right? I know everything. I know how much investment we got. I know how much revenue we have. I was part of defining the company goals. I know how our competition, what they are doing, so I know when I need to push on the gas in terms of innovation, and when I need to push the gas in terms of productization, and where I need to invest on scale in terms of infrastructure, and when I need to invest on security, because we are really before launch. So there is no way I will just hire 10 PhDs just because I want to hire 10 PhDs. There is probably a big need to take a big leap ahead of any competition in the market. So I will make sure that I will bring the first two, and they will bring the next three, because they know them, or they know what they achieved in other company, or they can evaluate what they can achieve. So there is always, okay, what I need, what I will need in the next 2 quarters, how much it will take to deliver those commitment, and then when and how many I need to hire from which profession.
That makes sense. And it sounds like you're also hiring for the specific need and giving them the sandbox to play in. It's not like you're just hiring them and saying, go play. You're hiring for a specific, that makes more sense to me. Okay. In selling to these Fortune 500s, can you give us some of the lessons? Years ago, I remember hearing that when you sell to these big companies, everybody you talk to, it's always yes, 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 and they drag you down a path, and you never get a deal. You just get they how do you navigate through the politics, the bureaucracy, the fact that so many people in big companies just say yes, or has that been your experience?
Selling to enterprise is a long process, for sure. It's not only for new technology. It's I was in Cisco, I was in Intel. It's a long process to sell to enterprise. Um, I think the key is to know the customer and to know the process. What does it mean to know? You need to know the processes. When is their budget planning? When sometimes there is opportunity to use budget, unused budget toward the end of the year. Who is this? Who is the buyer? Who is the one that hold the budget? You. It's very hard to sell if you don't know the customer. When you don't know the customer, the processes are longer, or you are surprised from the process. So I think that's a key. Um, what we see is that even in POCs, I would suggest not to do free POCs, because if customers are not paying for anything, they care less. Um, Champion on the technology is critical. Um, Someone that will be able to help you facilitate, give you tips how to move forward. I think so. I think that having a champion is also critical. And end of the day, continuous engagement to show the value, to show to share the roadmap, to listen to the customer needs. So it's 100% hard work to if you want to sell into big enterprises.
So you just said on something, and it was tied into what my next question was going to be, and that's listening to the customer. I can't imagine how hard it is to evaluate all of the possibilities and all of the needs and all of the ideas when you only have 55 people. And it's, I think true leadership is saying no more often than we say yes. How do you balance all of those opportunities with either a no or a not now? How do you decide, and how do you, yeah, can you speak to that?
Yes, of course. When I came after 3 weeks to the company, I wrote a game plan for the next year. It was important for me exactly for that. And the second year, we already created this game plan that was built by probably at least 10 people in the company. And the goal of the game plan is to create focus. What are the main KPI of the company? Revenues, technology, cultural, post sales, support, SLS. You define whatever fits your company. Let's say 5 KPIs. And then it's aligned. Anything that is progressing the company toward those big goals. Okay, that's a go. Okay, anything that is a disruption worth a discussion. Meaning, I'm not saying no. Okay, if I'm getting a new business opportunity with a huge partner in US, which we didn't plan to do, at least let's discuss before we say yes. So first of all, what we did is let's focus on, for example, North America and the UK and Germany, and let's not do business in Israel because it's a small market. Although it's very hard for me to say that I'm a startup, I need to reach X million dollar ARR next year. That will not help me, even if many companies in Israel will love the technology. Not sure it will help me achieve my ARR goal. So second is like industries. We cannot, as a startup, you cannot now be expert in automotive, in construction, in pharma, in food. So you need also to prioritize the industries, and be ready to change it over time. Meaning, if you see that you said, okay, I'm focusing on 3 industries, and you see that one out of them does not bring results, be ready to change to another one. But don't go, okay, I want all of them. Something will be catched in the net. No, it will probably, you will not invest enough. What does it mean not invest enough? You need marketing budget to go to events. You need marketing budget to run campaigns. You are a startup, you cannot spend $3 million only on events because you need to go to 10 events from different industries. So this is how we did it.
I love that you said, let's talk about it before we say yes, instead of let's talk about it before we say no. I don't know if that's intentional or if that's just
No, it's intentional.
I caught it. I love it. It's beautiful. I'm going to use that for sure. There's something that's very focused around growth and also inclusivity, but also in like, we're being a little bit strategic here, but it's also more positive versus negative. There's something very NLP about that. I like it a lot. Um, how's aiOla funded? Have you guys raised money? Are you privately funded?
Yeah. We are now in around A plus with existing. First of all, it's significant. United Airlines is part of it, and we have a few VCs that invested us in previous rounds that continue to invest in us because everyone believes that that's a company that will change things in the industry. So we have a few VCs, a few private investors, the founders, and we're about to close the A plus round, and next will be the B in a few quarters.
As you were just explaining that, I just looked on Angel List to see if you're on Angel List yet, but there's no secondaries. There's no ability for anyone outside to get in yet other than the A plus round. So we'll keep an eye on you in the B rounds. Alon, I want you to go back and give yourself some advice. If you were to talk to the 21 or 22-year-old Alon, what advice would you give the younger you that you know to be true today, but maybe you wish you'd known at a younger age?
Continue to be bold. If you look on my resume, I started as software engineer, software manager. I changed to business. I took risks to manage startups, to relocate to US, to go back to Israel, to go to work with different technologies, telecommunication, move to online to Wix, leave amazing company like Wix to a small startup. Um, so and by the way, in 3 weeks I'm going to climb the Everest. This is like very similar. I'm always looking for the next big challenge to climb, the next big mountain to climb. And I learned from every chapter in my career. So yeah, I don't think a person needs to change roles every year. But today, as a COO, I can speak with PhDs on voice. I can speak about go to market with my VP of marketing. I can go and sell. I can speak with investors. I would never be able to do that if I would stay in the same position, in the same technology, in the same country. This is so. This I think that's if I would give Alon in 20 years ago a tip, that's yes, that's the right path to do.
Okay, so I get to be bold. Now, you do not get to just say that you're going to go and climb Everest next week and kind of skip over that point. One of my close friends has summited twice. Are you doing Everest, like the summit of Everest, like 29,000 feet Everest?
No, I'm going to the base camp.
Going to base camp. Okay, well that's still amazing. Okay, because my
I did the Kilimanjaro, and now I will do the.
okay. So going to base camp's good. That's okay. You're gonna hike. You can do, like, is it like the 18-day hike up to it or something? Or
Yes, yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay, that's okay. Because I was gonna ask, like, how do you take 3 months off from a company to go do an Everest
So
camp?
no, no. Even 3 weeks is difficult.
Base camp is good. Nepal is beautiful. I was there. I did a champagne breakfast at base camp. Oh my gosh, 14 years ago now. It was amazing. So enjoy. Well, Alon Peleg, the COO from aiOla, thank you so much for sharing with us on the Second Command podcast. Really appreciate the time today.
I really enjoyed, and I will be happy to have such session again and again.
All right, take care and enjoy Nepal.